With this year's flagship lineup, it's clear that Asus tried to curb the budget-friendly phone sector and has tried to bump up the prices to follow Samsung or Apple's footsteps, which is actually natural for any company to do. But again, there are quite a bit of fundamentals that Asus has missed out on. Hey, what's going on guys, this is Raul from TrueTech and this is my review of the Zenfone 3 Max. Now before we get into this video, let me clear this out. The Zenfone 3 Max I received to review doesn't retail for 13,000 rupees. It retails for 18,000 rupees, and if you're curious to know, I'll leave the link in description box below. Now with that being said, let's jump right into the video. Starting off with the design and the build quality, the phone sports a really generic build. I mean, almost every phone in 2016 has adapted to a similar kind of design. And looking at the phone, the design looks really worn out, very used up, very tired. But this isn't to say that it's a bad design. It's a really premium feeling design, metal all over and 2.5D curved glass in the front. It feels really good in the hand, has a good heft to it, but overall it feels really generic, doesn't shine out and looks really ordinary. On the front of the phone we have a couple of sensors, the earpiece, the front facing camera, the screen itself and non-backlit keys. On the left hand side of the phone we have the volume rocker and the power button, while on the right hand side of the phone we have a lonely laying SIM card slot. The phone is covered with metal and has rounded edges on the back, which actually provides a very premium feel. The back also houses a 16 megapixel camera supported by the laser autofocus, dual LED flash and PDAF. Now coming to the display of the phone, it gets really well lit even in the indoors conditions and outdoors. It feels really gorgeous to look at, it's crisp and clear even at 1080p. Coming to the performance of the phone, here's where things start to get a little bit messy. Now this version of the Zenfone 3 Max is actually a mid-range device because of course it costs 18,000 rupees. But still Asus goes with an entry-level chipset that is Snapdragon 430. Now just think about it. There are so many other smartphones in the market under 20,000 that have a flagship level Snapdragon 820 chipset in them, and still the Zenfone 3 Max has a Snapdragon 430 chipset and retails at 18,000 rupees, which actually makes the Zenfone 3 Max so much unconvincing. Now this phone glides through small titles such as Crazy Road, Temple Run and other small indie games, but where it really struggles is with the intensive and bigger titles such as NFS or Modern Combat 5. Also with the bigger games, it has slower response times and it lags quite a lot. However, with each and every game, even smaller games or the bigger games, the loading times are crazy long. I mean, the games take a lot of time to start, which really pisses me off. Apart from that, the phone also has its frequent stutters and lags here and there, but it can handle multitasking like breeze thanks to the 3GB RAM. Talking of the battery life of the phone, it is a downgrade from the 2016 Zenfone Max. The predecessor actually had 5000 milliamps of battery if I'm not wrong. If you want to check out my review, you can see the link in the description box below or click the card that might pop up right now. But this one is surely a downgrade from that is 4100 milliamps. And you might say it's still not a big deal. It's still a larger battery and fitted into a smaller form factor. Yes, I agree, I really like that. But still, the brand promised 2 days of battery life and the phone usually only lasted me for like one full day, and I ended up with like 20% or 25% juice left. Overall, here too the phone has been a major disappointment. Let's talk about the cameras on the phone. The main 16 megapixel sensor maxes out at 1080p, both videos and photos. And it's not the best that can be found at this price range either. Photos taken from this camera turn out to be really okay or sometimes decent. Even in daylight, there's a noticeable amount of grain in images and overall they are moderately sharp. The camera also doesn't capture all the details and the dynamic range is also miserable. Now of course using HDR does bring back a lot of details and fixes the dynamic range issue, but as you can see, still the images aren't as perfect. Talking of the low light performance, the camera does totally mediocre here. It's totally ridiculous. Rarely any detail are conserved. Also there's a lot of grain. The HDR doesn't work, low light mode doesn't work perfectly. It's just mediocre at low light. Now coming to the front-facing camera, the front-facing camera somehow seems to work decent enough. It takes great and sharp selfies and has beauty modes and other features to enhance your selfies and improvise them. And of course, even low-light selfies turned out better than low-light photos from the camera, which is actually really surprising. So the camera is yet another factor that discourages you from buying this phone. Coming to the software, the phone still runs on Marshmallow, there's no Nougat, and of course Asus has implemented Zen UI on it, which is a very heavy skin. Also it comes with a lot of bloatware. I installed Google Now Launcher to suit myself and have a better experience, but still the software is Zen UI. It's a heavier skin which again drains the battery life and sometimes leads to stutters and lags. But overall the software performance was really decent, it was adequate enough, I didn't notice much here. And finally moving to the pricing. At this price I don't appreciate the phone at all. But still if you're considering the 13K version, that's even worse. Asus has put a MediaTek processor at 13K rupees. Just think about it. There is the Eco Low Max 2 which is available with the Snapdragon 820 chipset. Even the performance, the camera and optimization on the Eco Low Max 2 is way better than this phone. So if you still want to check out the phone, my links are in the description box below. I would really appreciate if you use my links because that helps to keep the channel running. And with that, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, do check out the full review at true-tech.net, which is our website. The link is in the description box below and also in the card that should pop up right now on the right hand side corner. I really appreciate your viewership. Do like, share and comment on this video, and of course don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon. See you guys in the next video.